Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at the Immortal Men Issue 2. This is of course part of the New Age of Heroes. Now, kind of picked this one up on impulse, because I'm a terrible impulse shopper. And I thought, well, I'll give it another chance. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought. And honestly, I have to say that this was not bad. This is written by Ryan Benjamin and James Tynion IV, with inks by Richard Friend. Colorist was David Barron. Carlos M. Mangula letterer. Jim Lee, Scott Williams, and Alex Sinclair did the cover. Now, the associate editor, Brittany Holzer, and Katie Kubert was the editor. I think they did a much better job on this issue than they did on the almost nonsensical first issue. So we get a little bit of explanation about what's going on. This kid, Caden Park, is important for some reason. We still don't really know why. And we left off on a cliffhanger last issue, but the kid basically just ran away while everybody else was fighting and did absolutely nothing to help anyone. So Reload, Ghost Fist, Scraps, and Timber had to do all the work. We still have a few things that kind of bother me. Timber does some pointless swearing, and the storyline needed tightening up. This issue definitely handled it better, but there's way too much talking going on. Way too much. The point could have been brought across with a lot less words on the page. It's a visual medium, guys. Learn how it works. I don't understand. Are they not teaching people how to do the job anymore? Like, go out and buy Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud, memorize it, and then work on your comics, okay? This is not difficult. This is not a young adult novel. I don't need all these word balloons unless they're driving the plot, and 90% of the time they're not. This is an example of that, but this one is not as bad. So the kid got away, right? He got in a taxi cab where he finally meets the Immortal Man, only to have the car get rammed by his dad's guard, and that's when they're attacked by some bloodless. And of course, thankfully, the guard used to work for Argus, so he's a trained agent dealing with superpowered freaks and monsters, so he's okay, and he's actually an interesting addition to the characters. But the kid finds out that his parents have been murdered by this sketchy looking dude that really likes cutting things, and he resurrects the parents as monsters, and Caden has to have his little Batman moment a lot quicker than he should. Thankfully, the good guys show up, and it looks like Reload might be about to buy it, which would really be disappointing because he's actually one of the more interesting characters. I actually like the good guys, except for Timber, I think is poorly handled, but Reload, Ghost Fist, and Scraps are pretty interesting. We get a little bit of history on Scraps, but Scraps grabs a kid and jumps off into the ether, and that's where the issue ends. Now, I'd have to say this issue was good. It just had way too much dialogue going on, especially in caption boxes, and way too much talking. I would have to actually say that the talking was way worse than anything else. Other than that, it did provide a little bit more context as to what's going on. It was a much better issue than the first issue, and I might even give issue 3 a go to see where it goes. Overall, it was probably a fairly mediocre issue, but it was such an improvement on the first one that I actually liked it really well, and the cover is great. So it's a Jim Lee cover, and everybody looks really cool. Not like a Timber so far. I think that's a pretty weak character, but you know she's not going to get killed off because of her minority status. Hopefully they don't kill Reload. Scraps is the only other female, and she's kind of weird looking. But Ghostface looks really cool. I really like him. The bad guys look a little too much like Marvel villains, in my opinion, but we'll see. I don't really know why Vandal Savage seems to be a good guy in this. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good issue, and I would recommend it. So I didn't feel ripped off by the cover price, and it was a vast improvement on the first issue. Hopefully it'll keep going up. But that'll do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. Be sure and hit like and subscribe if you like what we're doing here, and check out the Patreon link, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening.